Hi guys, hope you're well in these very interesting times. Here's another interview that Brendan and I did, a succession of interviews we did before Brendan left Camelot Castle. This time with one of Dave's friends, Steve Whale, who's a very well-known guitarist with that fantastic punk band, The Business. And Steve talks all about his relationship with Dave and the punk scene and the Skinheads and all that fantastic stuff. You'll really enjoy this. So hi folks, I'm back with Brendan here at Camelot Castle, and one of the last times we're ever going to be here, Brendan.
Probably the last bit of filming we'll do here today, Liam. It's a bit sad, but
so that's why we had to get an important guest in.
we did. We were very lucky.
Yeah.
Right at the last minute.
They're turning up, aren't they?
Who we got? Who is this?
Simon Cowell of the punk world.
Really?
Easy for you to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, it's easy. With these turkey teeth, it's hard work.
Do you know there's been quite a few people online talking about your teeth?
Yeah, I got a suntan off it.
Yeah, no, I've actually saved a lot of money on the lighting now in the front room. Do you know
So
what I
that
mean?
actually could be a sponsorship deal going along there.
Yeah, definitely.
Turkey teeth
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
Brendan.
Yeah.
Sounds quite catchy.
So
Yeah.
who is this man? Who is
So
this?
this is the legend. That is Steve Whale, right?
Okay.
Steve Whale from The Business.
Yeah, and we're not talking about the film, The Business.
We're not talking about the film. We're talking about the punk rock phenomenon.
Yeah, he
That
looks
was-
punky, doesn't he?
And he's very punky, and he's
Yeah,
got a big connection
Yeah.
to the punk world.
Yeah.
And I'll let him reveal his connection with Dave and where it all started.
Do you know, just his face. There's certain thing about punky people. They've got a certain sort of face, haven't they?
Yeah, a lot of sort of angry type.
It's a romantic ballad, man.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, after years of being ground down, that's what it is.
Is that what it is?
You end up looking like Phil Mitchell.
So yeah, tell us the Dave thing then.
Okay, yeah, I suppose everyone's been doing this. First time I met Dave,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. It was actually down in Lewisham, and we both had hair then, and it was a really one of these like dodgy clubs. And I went there with Wendy Whiplash, who was basically she was a brass. She was definitely a brass. No, but we'd just been
Wendy Whiplash.
Wendy
Is
Whiplash.
she here today with you?
I don't know what happened to her, but we'd been to a club uptown, and she goes, "Oh, do you want to come to this thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right, of course," because we went down there. And Dave was over there at the other side of the bar, and he was looking at me, and I think because I got one of those faces, he recognised me or something. I was like, no, she says, look, anyway, all the other. So Wendy Whiplash was dancing, and with ease and all that was going on. Anyway, he came over and started talking. He said, I said, no. So, like that, because we both had hair at the time. And anyway, we just, it's the same old story. Yeah. Dave was...
Can't help but get on with Dave.
Yeah, we was laughing and, being stupid, as you. So you find out we could both got the same sort of dark, sick humour.
That's what happened with me.
You end up, he was just like... So, anyway, that's kind of the first time. It's, pretty much like that. And I don't know what happened to Wendy Whiplash.
No.
I'd like to know.
Yeah. Shame she's not here today. You should
she
arrange
just
that.
suddenly disappeared for some reason. So that was the first time.
Did he get involved with your music and stuff?
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I don't want to do probably what everyone else has been doing. And all of Dave had all this grass thing going on. And there was one point, wasn't it? It was bad.
It was bad,
yeah. He was getting out of control. Yeah. So this is what I did. Mm-hmm. I rang Dave. I went, right, you're coming with me tonight. Mm-hmm. I've got a show in London. Mm-hmm. Right, it was 700 people, all punks and skinheads. Yeah. I said, we're going to that show. Mm-hmm. All right, pick me up. So I picked him up, went up to the show, and come on stage, usual showing off, thinking I'm Elvis with a bad leg. So the crowd was going mental and everything. So I picked my moment and I went, right, everybody, we got a super special guest here tonight. I want you to all give Dave Courtney a big cheer. right? So he'd come on stage and the crowd went absolutely from the front to the back,
I remember it,
all cheering
Right.
for Dave Courtney. Right? It's important because he then realised that not everyone was against him. So he had all the punk element on his side, because you think about it, right? He was against the system. He was saying, you know, police intelligence is a contradiction in itself and stuff like that. He was constantly saying stuff like that, which for all the punk rockers, oh yeah, that's right. He's really giving it to the man, as they say in America. So that was important for me, and it was important for him. So he, from that moment, embraced the punk scene.
And just for viewers who may not know, I mean, you are the band is the business, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, what was the kind of background? I mean,
with regards to the band that I was in, it was from what they call UK 82, and probably you remember Sham 69 and that sort of that kind of era when it was more working class, and we come from that era. So the element was like with the business, it was a huge connection to football and the terrorist kind of mentality, you know, the guy in the pub, that sort of small politics type thing. We was one of the main bands for that, and you know, in terms of you know, record sales and stuff like that, the band had a couple of number ones in the independent charts. Now the reason why I'm saying that is because at the time the independent charts were the main charts, were the records that weren't like twisted like the main charts, because they payola to get them in the charts. This independent charts at the time was the main charts, and we had it was Smash the Discos was number 2 for 6 weeks, and James Brown he's kept us off a number 1 slot. So 6 weeks that was number 1. And what it done was we had an anti-disco campaign.
Oh, brilliant!
Right, with a badge and everything, and then
smashing up the.
There was fights.
Because like, didn't they have that in America? They
had smashed them all.
American football ground. They all smashed them during
that's right.
A show, a game. They come out and smashed all the disco
That's right.
records.
Remember now? Yeah.
Well, this was very similar. When we started this campaign, we went to number 2, and it was all over. I mean, how many records we sold, I don't know. It was so many. It was obviously we never got any. But that aside, what was happening was there was fights all over England. When the Soul Boys come out of their clubs, all the locals were like, fuck these guys, let's go and do them, right? Because they smashed the discos. When it come to a head was in a show we did in Coventry.
Right.
Now, the coach went from London full of London yobs, as the newspapers said at the time. We went down, it was ICF, Millwall and Chelsea, all the different firms. First, we was the only band where the firms all mixed. We went down to this Coventry show, and what happened, it was Hand and Heart or something in Coventry. What happened was, we'd done the show, outside over the road was the biggest nightclub in Coventry. And of course, all our lot were outside. And what happened was, all the nightclub, all the Soul Boys with their John Travolta shit, it kicked off. Oh, like you wouldn't have been. Like it was about probably 100 versus 100. So the riot police have turned up. And once they turned up, all our lot come back into the venue, away from the police. So what's happened? So you know when it's chaos, someone comes up with a really great idea, right? Barricade the doors, right? Everyone. So everyone's putting furniture up against these doors to stop the police coming through, the riot police. So they put all these tables and chairs and everything, and they took all the glasses ready for when the police come through. And as the police come through, the doors open the other way. So they just opened anyway. And you go, you stupid cunt. What a fucking stupid idea that was. So the police come in with throwing chairs, tables, glasses, everything happened. I was getting right. And what happened was, one of the police officers got plunged,
Right.
got stabbed. That took it on to a different level then. While this was gone, we'd loaded our coach and everything, and we had to get out of there super quick.
Really?
And what happened was it was all in the newspapers the next
Were
day.
you quite infamous then? Did you?
Well, yeah, there's been a few of those,
Yeah.
but I won't go with that, all the other stuff. But yeah, so what I'm trying to say is notoriety at the time was really, really big.
Did you enjoy that period of time?
If you really want to know the truth, it was just the way it was. I didn't notice any different because at the time, in that era when the football violence was going on and stuff like that, it was just normal. Right? It was very violent times.
Yeah.
And it's not now because it's hard for people to understand. It was just a different time.
Yeah.
You know, that particular era, there was riots going on. And they were burning Toxteth and
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's
London.
probably from about 1974, 75 up to about sort of 86, 87, wasn't it?
Yeah, the 80s.
The ecstasy changed the football violence. Everyone started hugging each other. So.
Yeah.
Did that was that have an effect on the band's career when all that was going on, the ecstasy and all?
I mean, I don't think it could have got any worse, the reputation anyway. So, I mean, if I'm totally honest, it enhanced it because we just had a problem prior to that because we released a song called Drinking and Driving. And it was Drinking and Driving is so much fun.
Do you know what?
Right? So
I should have got them albums. I should have.
That hit all over it.
Well, but it come up in Parliament.
Oh really? God.
Yes, it was in Parliament. So they were saying the irresponsible band that these people are. Do you know what saved us?
Right.
Was manager come up when we wrote it. So he said, put one line in there, that rightful Paul.
Right.
He put that in. That got us out of all the trouble.
And on the B side, was it like the Green Cross Code or something like that?
Yeah, it was. No, on the B side, it was don't drink and drive because you spill it. Yeah, but we ended up another visit from the police over that, and I mean, Mark, the bass player, and me had that interview, and at one point we had Special Branch come down because
Special Brew, yeah.
No, they had a cup of tea, but
Are you still gigging now?
when you're in a band, it's very excessive. I mean, I'll be here all night telling you about the history because it's just one thing after the other.
Yeah.
But it's very excessive lifestyle, and unfortunately, the singer got carried away, had addictions anyway, alcohol, and then he discovered cocaine, which he then realised he could stay up all night drinking. Which, you know, that combination, what could possibly go wrong?
Nothing.
So yeah, I mean, he
Another
paid.
success story.
Yeah, he paid the big price for it. So don't do it at home, kids.
That's
Do it when you're out.
What's it like the actual gigs?
Where the band really took off was America.
Right.
Now, the reason why I'm saying it is because we are all very similar in terms of the London attitude, and we'd be in a pub, and Brendan knows our humour at some stage and how we think, and right. What all we did was transfer that to America, that attitude, and lo and behold, it absolutely blew up for us. Now, it blew up like Boston, places like New York, and then in California, San Francisco, where there was strong, now Pennsylvania, strong working class backgrounds. They identified me. We was offering something different.
They can relate to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote this song, album called The Truth, The Whole Truth, and Nothing But the Truth.
Yeah.
And that was the record that cracked us in America.
Really?
So we ended up possibly 6 months a year touring in America.
Yeah.
It was those days when you could tour, like I said to Courtney earlier, our schedule will be 60 shows in 65 days just in America.
Now that's mental, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that was normal. You know, Metallica, they tell you similar stories. And when I looked at my diary one time, it was 7 years on the road in one go.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's not including all the other years that, that was in one go. So that was the kind of schedule that bands could have in those days. And that's how you become super big, you know.
Brendan, did you go and watch?
I've been to Dave to a couple of his gigs.
Yeah, and were you pogoing in the audience?
I found it quite a unique experience because I was really from the rave scene, you know. I'm a little bit younger than Steve, grew up in a different sort of genre of music really, but it was interesting to go and see it. These people are still, they've followed these people since they were youngsters, haven't they? They've grown with you, Steve. Your fans have followed you, haven't they? But to see them now at 60 doing the punk rock thing is quite interesting. Do you know what I mean? Dave actually loved going to these gigs, and with what Steve said earlier, it did bond him a little bit, and like they ended up linking up with Hell to Pay.
Oh yeah,
Steve
tell
wrote
us
some
about
music for the
Yeah, I wrote obviously the title track, but I'll go back to why I was talking about America, which is an important part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
When that record hit America, it was massive, and the reason why is because of Lars Fredriksson. Lars Fredriksson is the guitarist singer of a band called Rancid in America, and the two of us wrote and he produced that record, which was absolutely massive in the States, and effectively that bond between us two then transferred over to the UK, and obviously in my gang, Mr. Courtney was part of that, and I introduced the two of them, who become firm friends from there on. So that is very important, that part there, because the reason I'm saying it is because that's why Rancid then did a record called Mr. Dave Courtney.
Oh, did they?
Rancid did that record. So what happened was Rancid come over to England. They were playing Reading Festival. Now, you can probably guess there was like 60,000, 70,000 people. And what happened was I got a phone call from Lars saying, can you bring Dave? No problem at all. We're Saturday morning, I've turned up here, and obviously he's been on it all night, the usual. And somehow he had a blue Renault, which was clearly not his.
Yeah, I remember the car,
And we had to get from here to Reading Festival in something like an hour and 15 minutes.
Right.
Which, you know, is loads of time.
Loads.
So he had a spliff first and then we made it. But
driving was interesting with Dave, wasn't it, at that point? His driving skills were quite unique, weren't they?
Well, we was on the other side of the road more than we was on this side of the road. So, I mean, obviously everyone had spare pants when we got out of the car.
His phrase was, keep death off the roads, drive on the pavement.
Yeah, so I was on the phone just as we're getting to Reading saying, we're coming in. Rancid had just gone on stage and we literally got to the festival and the security knew it was Dave Courtney and the doors were literally opening up as we were coming this little blue Renault thing. It was like, and he was steaming because of the amount of punishment it had. And we literally drove through Reading up to the stage.
Wow, that's amazing.
And got out of the car, walked on stage, and Lars looked and see Dave and went, okay, right, this song's called Mr. Dave Courtney. I just want to bring him on stage now, everyone, give him a round of applause. So Dave had like 70,000 people.
Oh,
bigging him up.
Hated it.
And he said,
I think he stayed on there for about 15 minutes until the last.
No, it was clean and sweeping up round him. And he went, don't ever do that to me again. And he just completely blown away by the whole thing, you know. It was cool. It was, you know, we all know Dave, he loves those kind of things, those kind of stories.
He loved it.
It's eccentric and it was all very, you know, we had to get there and there was a lot of tension in whether he was going to make. So, that was an important connection because that stayed there. Obviously, further down the line, Hell to Pay come along the film, and obviously I wrote the title track for the film because the director wanted it something gritty, and it's kind of reflected. He said there was a film called England or something. This is England.
This is England.
Timothy.
Shane, is it Shane Meadows?
No, I don't know if he did direct it, but Timothy was the main character. Anyway, that aside, he wanted something like that. So I wrote Hell to Pay, etc. And then I put all the music in the film, which was effectively Rancid and people which you couldn't really get their music for unless you knew someone.
Yeah.
So that's why that soundtrack was like it was. You know, it was a bit sort of a scarry, a bit psychobilly, and punky, obviously.
Did you appear?
I was a good bad guy. Chico shagged my bird in it.
That's right, I remember Steve. Yeah, you was running off after him.
Yeah,
around the back of the aquarium, they had no clothes on, didn't they?
Yeah, but
I remember that.
Yeah, remember
with
that
a gun.
scene? Yeah, with a gun. Yeah.
No permission. No one knew about it.
He was devoted and in love to this woman.
Yeah, that was the idea. That was the idea. Yeah, so I ran through London with a gun in my hand.
I remember that.
What could possibly
at the back
go
of the
wrong?
aquarium.
That's it.
Up the back
What could possibly go wrong with that scenario? And I mean, and that's how Hell to Pay. Obviously, the music video we did that was down in Portsmouth.
Yeah. That must have been a laugh, mustn't it, doing all that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the best part, obviously, was the nightclub. It did all that, all the bloke with the stump bloke, one arm missing, a wooden leg.
Yeah, he was the pyrotechnics. He was
a wig or something.
Yeah, he'd blown himself up. Yeah. Everyone, when he said stand 200 feet back, everyone went another 100 foot.
Yeah, I was in the doorway and I couldn't be any further. And I heard it go and all the building shook and I saw a fucking bonnet go past. I was like, Jesus, I definitely done the right thing.
That was, in fairness though, at the end of the filming, right, they were blowing up the Rolls Royce and he had, I forget how much explosive he had, but Dave went to him, he said, I'm going to have this much left. And Dave went, what do you mean? What happens to that? He said, oh, it's got to go back. And he went, but I've paid for it. And he went, yeah, but we ain't used it. He went, well, use it all then.
Yeah.
He went, Dave, we don't need to. He went, no, if I'm paying for it, you're not going to let me keep it. You use it all, fucking use it all, right? So he put it on this roller, right? And when he blew it up, it was so bad, the explosion, that all the naval base went on alert.
Come up on the satellite.
It come up, it was like, there was helicopters, police, and he had a white Crombie on at the time, and he turned up, when they turned up the old bill and all that, they were looking at us and they went, who's in charge? And I pointed straight, I went, he is in the white coat, So they went over and everyone was in front of him. He'd done it purely to make us laugh. And they went, what's going on? And he went, I was just wiring up the radio.
It went off.
But he absolutely annihilated this roller. Right, there weren't one single solitary bit left of it after he blew it up.
It's all in space. And at that particular night, it just got better because it was the case that I think it was Holiday Inn was also. Anyway, down to the nightclub, and obviously parking isn't an issue with Dave Courtney. So have you already told that one?
No, I've not told it. No,
they just parked outside the club. You know, parking means nothing to us. Of course, they've clamped all the cars outside. They've clamped them all. And of course, everyone's come out of the nightclub and it's got, you've been clamped and all that old shit. So someone's rang the number and got, get him down here now and all that sort of thing. So this little short bloke with glasses, like with a short man mentality, he's come, oh, you're just going to have to fill that, you know, lardy-dar with all this. Some pulled out a gun, stuck it in his face.
That's right, they had, I can't remember who it was, but someone, and these were guns that they'd worn on the set, but they'd had their holsters and they were still clubbing, but they've got carried away now and they'd had a couple of drinks and the geezers come out and went, well, I'm not taking it off, until they went, boom, put it on his forehead and went, take that off. And he shit himself and then he went and take that one off and take that one. But when he did ring the police, all these cars were registered in London.
Ah, yeah.
So the police kicked all their doors in, and it was the wives who had to deal with it because they're all down.
All the phones were going in the hotel. What have you done now? And the police just put our door in.
That's great. So you invested a few quid in that one, didn't you?
I invested in
everything.
It's another project that didn't quite come off.
Yeah, but it was great though.
Listen, I had a great time. I never moan about it. I enjoyed it. It was a laugh.
Yeah.
You know,
You know what? I'm not sorry to interrupt you. What you must understand is that was probably one of the most important films ever to be made. And the reason, certainly in terms of South London, and the reason why is because it documented all the firm from South London in one place.
Yeah.
None of them could act.
No.
That wasn't, you know, if you could act, you was out,
Yeah.
right? But what it was the documentation of the crew at that time.
Yeah, but it was a real documentation, wasn't it?
It was.
Zoo.
The film was.
And no one had ever done it before that real, had they? You know what I mean?
No.
The acting was absolute shit, but the reality of the characters, like, they were just being themselves. Weren't
Yeah.
they?
Were you in it? You did.
I had a little cameo role.
Were you in the club?
No, I was at. I had a role here just outside where John Altman, or Nasty Nick from EastEnders.
Copper, was it?
He was the policeman. I think
that's it.
I had the most cheesiest lines were something like, "Mr. Beaky, the early bird," something like that, and he come with the
lines.
girl off the Gladiators.
Jet.
Jet, I think it was. And we had Robbie Williams' dad was in that film, and the Joe, someone I can't remember. Joe Guest, is it the the porn girl?
Porn girl,
she played.
She's wear the glasses.
She was,
shows what I watch, folks.
She was an arresting sight. I'll say that.
Could you just do the line again for us so that we can just hear it again?
It was Mr. Beaky, the early bird.
See, you've still got it, Brendan. You've still got
I've
it.
got typecast after that.
That's it. So I actually think that film could be a cult, couldn't it?
It is a cult film.
It's a cult film already. It really is a cult film, and like I said, I don't have any regrets about the money I put into that or anything. It was a cult film. It was a part of my life at the time that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I was earning money. I put it into it. Didn't fucking work. I did think it was going to make money, and you know, like when I see the Chinese geezer selling it to me for £1, I then realised it hadn't worked out as I'd intended.
Did you buy it off him?
I had to buy it, you know, and I thought, well, I didn't have a copy of it at the time. I ended up buying a moody copy off a China geezer.
Oh, great movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great.